Okay, so in previous lecture, we have discussed about the method, theories, and the techniques, how we can read any text. So in this regard, we have discussed about that, first of all, that what is text is all about. So we have discussed in this, the text can be those verbal or non-verbal or a yeah, kind of method or technique through which we can convey our message, through which we can give our send our decode or send our message to the other person. It can include the article, it can include the book, it can include the pictures or the images, or it can include the notes. Like we are reading the Plato through his written notes or the notes which has been written by his students. So what we are doing, we are reading the text on the basis of several different method. Like the Gandhi has written his book, The Hind Swaraj, while the time of traveling from the South Africa to the Britain to the South Africa in the ship. So what we are doing, we are trying to read those classical text. I'm not talking about the modern time text. I'm talking about the classical text here. That how we can interpret or how we can grab the real meaning and grab the real interpretation of that particular word. So we have discussed about what is the scientific technique, what is the scientific method to understand or to read those texts. In this regard, we have seen that there are basically three approaches are there. The first approach is the textual approach, the second is the contextual approach, and the third is the postmodernist or the retextual approach. So in the first school of thought, we have discussed about there are four authors are there: Leo Strauss, Hannah Arendt, Eric Voegelin, and the Terence Paul. Out of four authors, we have discussed in the last lecture about the Leo Strauss. The Leo Strauss has given some certain points, some certain methods through which we can read the classical text. This method, first method he talked about is the analytic technique. The analytic technique is the method through which we evaluate the fact. We evaluate the things according to the condition. Means we try to read the text according to the condition. For example, we have discussed that how the Gandhi has written the book Hind Swaraj while the time of returning from the Britain to the South Africa. So we need to understand that what kind of situation was there, what situation has propelled the Gandhi to write the book and to convey the message to the larger audiences. Why Gandhi has written the book? So we need to try to understand the situation, condition. So what the Leo Strauss has said, that we need to analyze the fact. We need to do the analysis that what, why, how the things has been gone. What was the condition was there. The second thing Leo Strauss has talked about in the last lecture we have discussed is that we need to do the careful reading. What does it mean? What is the meaning of careful reading? Means we need to see the repetition of words. That if any author is repeating any word in a continuous basis, then we need to be very careful. Means it means that word have a very certain weightage, some certain value. Like the term Gandhi has used the term Swaraj, so Gandhi's Swaraj was not related to the independence, but it had relations with the self-independence. Means how all the person can be self-independent enough. If we can say that in the modern era, are we do we have a Swaraj? I can say that no, we are not self-independent. We are dependent on the other person. We are dependent on the larger industries, larger machineries. So Gandhi was talking about that way. So we need to read the text in a very carefully. So this thing has been mentioned by the Leo Strauss. The next thing Leo Strauss has said that whenever we are reading any book, we need to read or any article, we need to give emphasis on the headings. Whatsoever the heading is been written by the author or the writer, the major intention behind the chapter title is to convey some certain larger message, not the small thing. On the larger subject, the author always try to give the explanation under the chapter. For example, if the Gandhi has written the book the Hind Swaraj, we can see that how the Gandhi has talked about the term that how the local government can be established, why there is a requirement of the local government or the self government is required. So according to Gandhi, that self government is the only tool through which all the individuals can acquire the Swaraj. So in this regard, the Leo Strauss has said that whenever we are reading any text, we need to very careful. We need to very careful in terms of reading the chapter title, because the chapter title is having some weightage, is having some value. That's why the author has tried to make a separate heading for particular thing. The next thing has been mentioned by the method of structuring sentences. If author has written in very much interrogative sentence, it means the author is in the doubt mood, means he is trying to question the situation, he is not convinced with the situation. Like last lecture we have discussed about, Gandhi has written the text in a dialect model, or the in a dialect basis. So in a dialectical method, we have seen that how the sentences should be there. So in a dialect method, we have discussed that the sentence is on the basis of that whatever the question was there in the Gandhi's mind, he has tried to raise the question through the reader mode, and he has tried to answer the question by the master basis. So reader versus master thing has been discussed. After that, we have discussed that every sentence have the two kinds of interpretation. One is the exoteric, it means the obvious. For example, if I am using the term Aristotle, man is a political animal. So we can interpret in a normal basis that according to the Aristotle, man is a political animal, means man is trying to stay in the state, man is trying to stay in the society. This is the real obvious meaning, or the what you call the obvious meaning, or the we can interpret in a general basis. But the Leo Strauss has said that we need to read the sentence from both the perspective. We need to try to understand the author's view from the obvious meaning as well as the hidden meaning. Why Aristotle has written the human beings are the political animal? Because according to the Aristotle, he believed that state, society, and the politics is having not difference, and he has seen that all human beings cannot able to survive without the state, and they require the state, and they are very peace, cool, calm, and the coordinated kind of person. They always coordinate to each other, master versus slave. So Leo Strauss has talked about in that manner. The next thing he has talked about the quest for eternal truth value, means we need to try to track the truth, and we need to correlate the series. Means the Leo Strauss has said that whenever we are reading any text, we need to make a series, that there should have one, two, three, four, means each sentence should support the sentence which is written above. They should not have any kind of gap. If there is gap, it means some there is a problem is there in our reading technique. So we have discussed this thing in the last lecture. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss the Hannah Arendt. Hannah Arendt, she is also a very important thinker who has given the method and the technique that how we can read the text in a more scientific manner. So first, he has talked about the etymological method. Means etymological method means whenever we are reading any text, for example, the term used by the Aristotle, all human beings are political animal. So we need to track the term political has been used at what way, or when it has been used first point of time. So we need to use the history of any particular word or particular terminology first. Second thing, the Hannah Arendt has said that we need to read the history of an individual. For example, if you want to study the Gandhi, or if you want to study the Plato, we need to study his history. Like the Plato, all of you must be aware about the fact that his teacher The Socrates was hanged up, and he has given the what you call capital punishment for telling the truth. So when we will get to know about those kind of historical evidence or historical incidents, that will help us to understand that what kind of situation is there, what kind of condition is there, and how the author was propelled by that particular factor. And apart from that, Hannah Arendt has also said that whenever we are trying to track the history of individual, we need to track the history of that period of the time. For example, whenever we are talking about the Gandhi's Hind Swaraj, so we are talking about the Gandhi Swaraj at that condition. So we can see that how the Britishers were trying to make the colony, but Gandhi has realized that Britishers are not the enemy. The enemy is our thought. The enemy is our mind. So Gandhi has realized that Britishers, some Britishers are very good, some Britishers are bad. So he realized that it is not the Britishers, but it is the human being, it is the human thought process. That's why Gandhi has said that we need to change our thought, we need to think for the kind of such kind of Swaraj where it should be dependent on the mutual trust, mutual development. Means for that Gandhi has also used one term, I'm forgetting one term is there, that term is associated with the all of us will keep the thing which is required, and apart from that we can give it to the state. So Gandhi has talked about those kind of things. Means we should not be what do you call the selfish kind of person. We should have to think about the others too. So in this regard, we can see that how the anything has been emerged, what is the history of any particular thing is there. So Hannah Arendt has said that we need to see the roots, history, historical background, society background whenever we are reading any particular author. So if you are reading the Plato, if you are reading the Aristotle, you need to read the condition, what condition was there, what situation was there, which has propelled the author to write the text, and what then we can capable enough to understand the fact that what is the understanding is here. Just wait. हाँ हेलो, आपने कॉल किया है? हाँ हाँ भेजिए भेजिए, T612D, T612D, ओके या okay, sorry, what I was talking about is etymological method, so we have discussed. After that, the Hannah Arendt has also talked about the less emphasis on the hidden meaning. What Hannah Arendt has said? Hannah Arendt has said that, for example, if you can interpret the Aristotle simple sentence, human beings are political animals. So we need to try to understand the hidden meaning. So we can say that Aristotle has said this thing because all human beings are believe in the society. They cannot live individual basis. So what will happen according to the Hannah Arendt? While the time of graving or decoding the hidden meaning, we may misinterpret the thing. We may go for the false thing, or we may try to explore the thing which is not been truth, or which can be far away from the truth. So this thing can be possible here. So in this regard, Hannah Arendt has talked about that we should not give emphasis on the hidden meaning. We should not have to explore the thing which is not been written. We should not have to utilize our skill that what hidden meaning, hidden agenda should be there. For example, what hidden agenda can be there for the Gandhi to write the Swaraj? So we can say that Gandhi must be having some certain kind of self-image, that he want to create a global man, that I am a person who is not thinking about only Indians, but I am thinking about the global person. So, in that manner, we should not have to give emphasis on the hidden meaning. This thing has been said by the Hannah Arendt. The next thing which has been mentioned by the Hannah Arendt is we need to do the exercise from past to present. Exercise of past to present means whenever we are talking or whenever we are reading the Gandhi, we need to start his journey from 1869 to the 1950 or 1920 or 1940-50. So we need to track his past. We need to see that how he went there for the law education of to become as a barrister, how the situation has been happened with him in the South Africa, how he was thrown out from the train, how he was insulted by the white man in the South Africa that you are a black man, you don't have the equal right. So we need to correlate the past and the present also. We need to see the present also, that what kind of situation is there, what kind of present thing is there. So we need to correlate the past and the present. The third thing which Hannah Arendt has talked about, the three mental thinking. The what is the three mental things? First is the thinking. We need to think whenever we are reading any author's thing. For example, Plato's Justice is there. Then we need to think. Then after thinking, we need to see that how the author was willing, what the basic thing the author wanted to do with the writing justice. For example, Plato has talked about justice, and according to him, the justice is associated with the term ethics or the morality. So why Plato has retained the what you call justice? Because he was trying to believe or trying to create a state where all individual can be based on the mutual support, or can be based on the perform their own activity. Means they should have to be moral person rather than the what you call the selfish or self-centered kind of person. The third, we need to do the judging, that how the author has correlated the sentence, structure is there, every sentence have the interconnection is been there. So we need to judge the thing. So according to the Hannah Arendt, these three mental things are there for studying any what you call the text. So if any student have any doubt or questions related to the related to this this topic, Hannah Arendt, so you can ask me the question. Any student have any queries, questions related to Hannah Arendt?
So, how is the etymological method different from exercise between past and present?
A very good question. Ansuka, see, etymological method basically gives is talking about we need to give emphasis on the history. In the past, exercise between the past and present is different thing, and etymological method is different thing. I'm talking about the Gandhi. I would like to take the example. Gandhi, whenever we are reading the Gandhi, so we are trying to study his situation. What kind of history was there? If you can see his history, he was not from very poor family. He was not from such kind of persons who had no what you call the access to the education. But he had the education. He went to the Britain to get the what you call to get the law degree or to become as a barrister. So we need to see the historical thing. After studying those historical development, we can understand his situation. And after that, what has happened with the Gandhi? He went there to the South Africa, and in South Africa, the incident happened with him that has changed that has converted the Gandhi to the Mahatma. It has been said. So what we are doing, we are trying to exploring the history during that period of the time. So, for example, Plato we are talking about. So, if you are reading the Plato, we are trying to study his history. What kind of history Plato has had? What kind of historical condition was there during that period of the time? And what kind of development has been taken place? So, first is the gives emphasis that we need to explore the history. Second thing, which talks about the exercise between past and the present, means how the Gandhi has converted from the normal human being to become as a Mahatma. So we need to see that what condition, what was the factor. For if Gandhi had not been there in the South Africa, he never been called as a kind of Mahatma Gandhi. He never been a Mahatma. He always been the Gandhi. So we need to correlate the thing with the past and the present to understand the situation of any individual. Without doing those work, we can't able to understand the fact. Again, here I am taking second example. I am talking about you the Plato's Republic versus the Plato's Law. In the if you will read the Plato Republic book, you will find that Plato wanted to create ideal state. Whenever you will talk about the Plato's law, then he wanted to state which should be state based on the more legal basis, or law should be there, or it is mostly based on the legal thing. So he has criticized himself, his idealistic state, his philosopher king. When I will discuss you in the next chapter, when I will start the Plato, then I will discuss you in a better way. So we can see that how the Plato has shifted himself from the republic to the law. His total idea has been changed. So we need to correlate the past and the present to understand the real thing when the author has written the particular text. I hope it may have clarified your doubt.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So also a less emphasis on hidden. If we don't emphasize on knowing about the hidden meaning, won't we be misinterpreting the text? Or
See,
we,
Hanna, yeah, I got your point.
yeah, same
See,
thing.
for example, the Gandhi has written. I'm talking about the Gandhi has written the term Gram Swaraj, or the local government. Some person can say that Gandhi has written the Hind Swaraj. It may have some hidden meaning that he wanted to make himself as a global person, because he don't wanted to show himself I am only Indian. So means hidden meaning can try or can go to the what to call the wrong way, or we can try to interpret in a negative manner. What's a negative or positive thing can be there? We may not get the real thing. So Hannah Arendt has said that we need to go by the exoteric meaning, means what is the obvious meaning is there for particular sentence, rather than exploring the hidden meaning. While the time of exploring the hidden meaning, we may misinterpret the reader, or we may misinterpret the sentence, we may misinterpret the thought of a particular philosopher. So we should not give emphasis on the hidden meaning rather than the obvious meaning.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so now I'm taking the second topic, Eric Voegelin. The Eric Voegelin, he is also one of the important thinker in the to understand the text. He has given emphasis on the text and the creative work. He has said, means what he has talked about, that whenever we are trying to read the person, we need to read his situation, his condition. What kind of condition was there? Means you can say that Eric Voegelin was the combination of both the persons. One hand, the Eric Voegelin was trying to take the Leo Strauss as well as the Hannah Arendt. He has clubbed both the thinker, and he has tried to give emphasis on the text as well as the condition. And he has talked about that whenever a writer is writing anything, that is his shadow, that is his what you call the picture or image. For example, Gandhi has written the Swaraj. Before then that when before going to the South Africa, he had not written any text. So after starting the journey from South Africa, what has happened? He has tried to convey his thought or convey his ideas, whatsoever the idea was there in his mind. He has started writing letters. He has started writing the book. So that is a kind of real what you call the shadow of a cave. Why we are calling as a shadow of a cave means whenever you go there in a cave, you will always find that if there is what you call the in the daytime, you will find a kind of what the dark shade is there. So uh, I can take the example, better example with the Gandhi to explain the shadow of cave related to that. Whenever we try to understand any author, we always try to see that what the author intention is there, what author is trying to say. like many point of time we can't able to understand the author Swaraj. For example, if you read Gandhi's Hind Swaraj without understanding the context or without understanding the condition, you can say that Gandhi Swaraj must be self independence, may be related to all the person can be independent enough. But if you will understand his condition, his situation, and his thought that which he has experienced in the Britain, that how some white men were also being a kind of discriminated. The white men's also been what you call the discriminated in the sense that they were not treated as an equal basis. So Gandhi has realized that the self independence is not only about the racism. The self independence is not only about the kind of colonialism or the imperialism kind of thing. It is a kind of thought is there, individual human mind thought is there. That's why he has criticized the modernity. He has said that modernity is not a bad. The modernity has given us a kind of reason, and reason has corrupted our mind. The reason which we use in our day-to-day life, that has corrupted ourselves, and we started thinking for the self-interest basis. So Gandhi, what I'm telling you, that we are trying to read the text from a person in a dark way, means that what author is saying with the whole context, with whole meaning, with whole what you call whole manner, or through those kind of things. And in this what we are doing, we are following the Gandhi's route, that how the Gandhi has insulted in the South Africa, how the Gandhi has been treated in the Britain, how the Gandhi has been treated in the Britain. Well, when he went there for the what you call for the barrister, for being as a kind of lawyer, he has not been treated as a equal basis. So we need to read, we need to see the thing from the various what you call the happenings or the past, or with the various routes. So you can say that the Eric Voglin has not given much more new thing, but Eric Voglin has basically tried to talk about that we need to give the emphasis on the text as well as the condition. Then we can get the real meaning of a particular thing. For example, Gandhi's Hind Swaraj, Gandhi's self-government, Gandhi's critique to the modernity, Gandhi's critique to the industries. So whenever we are talking about the Gandhi, or whenever we are talking about the Plato, Aristotle, Machiavelli, then we need to read the Machiavelli's Prince with the text also, that what basic thing has been written by the Machiavelli in the Prince. But as well as we need to understand the condition, context, that what context and the condition the author has written the text. So we need to see that manner also. So this thing has been said or mentioned by the Eric Vogelin. So if there is anything, questions, queries are there, so you can ask me. एनी स्टूडेंट हैव एनी क्वेरीज क्वेश्चन? सो किसी कोई डाउट है, कोई चीज ऐसा है समझ में नहीं आया, तो आप पूछ सकते हो.
So what was the point about roots to tradition in Eric Voglin's context?
Roots at tradition means for example, it is you can say that what was the factor, what kind of things which has propelled the writer to write a particular text. For example, I have tried to take the example of Machiavelli. Machiavelli has written the book Prince, but before starting the book Prince, he has written the book. He has started the book. His book called as a Republic. So, sorry, not Republic. That is called as a kind of um, discourses is there. Discourses on the levy. So he has started first writing the book, the discourses, but after certain few days, he started writing the Prince. So okay, I would not like to go into that discussion. So what I was trying to say that whenever we are trying to read any particular author, we need to track his roots, that what roots were there, or you can say that historical legacies are there of the particular author, so that we can grab the real meaning of the particular text. For example, Gandhi has written the Hind Swaraj, Plato has written the Republic, Plato or the Aristotle has written the Politics. So we need to understand their roots, that where they had been. For example, Aristotle has visited more than 158 countries in the world. So he had been there and he has tried to understand the condition. So after witnessing those conditions, he had written the book, The Politics. So what kind of roots are there? What kind of background is there? That will help us to understand the particular author.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so kindly read the article which I have uploaded on the Google Classroom. So read that and it will clarify your further more doubt. अगर भी किसी को भी कोई डाउट होता है, tomorrow I will discuss further more on this chapter. Tomorrow I will do only discussion on this topic. Okay, so kindly read the topic and